Joining us now, Danny Wright, aviation expert and president of D&D Aviation. Danny, thanks for Skyping in and joining us this morning on America's Forum.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
So, Danny, in your estimation, as you Skype in from Alpharetta, Georgia, what went wrong on this Air Asia flight?
Frankly, I think it's too soon to speculate anything more than what has been said so far. But it would appear that based on the weather and the convergence areas that take place in there, we have both westerly and easterly flow of winds that meet together in that specific area of the world. It would appear that turbulence could probably be one of the problems. Turbulence is the biggest cause of non-fatal accidents in aviation. The FAA reports that basically it's the leading cause of injuries to airline passengers and flight attendants. Each year, approximately 58 people in the United States are injured by turbulence and them not wearing their seat belts during turbulence. From 1980 to 2008, U.S. air carriers had roughly 234 turbulent accidents, resulting in 298 serious injuries, only 3 of which were fatalities, though.
Danny, some have speculated that human error may be behind this crash. There was an Australian aviation expert that actually said this area was known as a thunderstorm, quote, thunderstorm factory, and that pilots have long known to avoid this area. Is that a possibility?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, the problem with weather-related accidents is typically the result of the decisions of the crew members related to those accidents. In fact, it was rather interesting. I happened to look at some of the weather that was reported at the time of the accident, and for the first time in my aviation career, I saw a black cell in that general area. Now, typically, weather radar depicts weather intensity, as you well know, based on color coding. And we try to stay clear as much as possible of the red and the cyan colored cells. But this one had a black cell dead center. It's something I've never seen in aviation before.
And with that in mind, Danny, a black cell, it sounds incredibly ominous, and sadly it apparently turned out that way. In terms of air traffic control in that part of the world, is there any way a pilot can make a change in course to try and avoid those cells, or is the air traffic are the air traffic instructions something that can't really be changed by the pilot based on those conditions?
Actually, a pilot is in command of his aircraft and can call for a mayday or a pan-pan call that will allow him to now take whatever action he wishes to take. And I hate second-guessing pilots with this scenario, but the obvious choice would be if I had been flying the aircraft, we would have obviously avoided the area completely. That doesn't mean that he did anything incorrectly. It simply means that based on the information that he was provided at the time of departure, he elected to make the flight. Air traffic control, he requested changed directions, in which he did. He changed 7 miles to the left. He also asked for a change in altitude. The problem I have seen is generally 2/3 of turbulence-related accidents occur at or above 30,000 feet. And in the information I've been able to glean so far, cloud tops in this area were above 55,000 feet.
Wow, the power of these storms based on what you saw in terms of the color-coded weather radar now in retrospect, ominous, threatening, and sadly perhaps fatal as we attempt to piece together what happened with the accident. Danny Wright, we're going to ask you to stay with us through the break and come back and talk more about what transpired with that Air Asia flight. There's more with Danny Wright when we come back on America's Forum.